these gray aliens may not be alien at all. There is a lot of evidence to suggest that they are us from the future, or perhaps humans from some other bizarre timeline where history may have occurred in a much more bizarre sequence of events than it did in our timeline. This is multiverse theory. Now, if you look at the path of evolution that human beings took on this planet, you and I, from all the way from the great apes to Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon man to modern day Homo sapien, and you keep that evolutionary clock rolling forward, okay, the next creature that you would have, maybe even a couple of steps beyond the next creature, but the general pattern that exists on our current path of evolution would suggest that moving that clock forward would give you a creature that looks very much like the gray alien. Now, if you look at the great apes, they're very hairy creatures, dark in color, lots of melanin, because they didn't have things like the technology of clothing to protect them from the sun or from the cold in the winter. Well, as we develop these technologies, clothing being the most significant, we have lost our necessity for melanin, our natural sunscreen. So we begin to shed it. If we keep moving in that direction as we evolve, eventually we will look dingy white, just like a gray alien. Also, if you look at some of the other features, the lack of muscle mass that they have, they're very spindly, skinny creatures. We also are moving in that direction. If you think about any of the great apes, they're much more muscular than we are. Also, the most important thing is the big cranium, the huge head. Well, we're moving in that direction, but as we take control of our evolution through XNA, genetic engineering, and programmable DNA, which surely they have discovered long ago, our heads will be getting much bigger to make room for the gray matter. It will require for us to be smarter. The gray matter, it's the neurons and the different glial cells and such that will be required for that extra intellectual capacity. We will need more physical space for it, so bigger cranium. Also, merging with our technology, Elon Musk and Bill Gates are investing now in research for a neural lace to increase cognitive ability. You're going to need room for that hardware. You're going to need room for that, extra hard drive in your skull, and that would explain the large cranium. Now, if you think about humans, and then you think about a starfish, both animals evolved on the same planet, on Earth, the same gravity, the same atmosphere, the same chemical makeup. They look alien to one another, yet they evolved on the same planet. And then you look at humans, and then you look at the gray alien, both walk upright, 2 arms, 2 legs, binary vision, a predatory trait. We look eerily similar physiologically, almost as if we were related species. That itself suggests that they may be another stage of evolution, or at least that they, if nothing else, came from a planet much like ours, and perhaps that's the path of evolution that intelligence takes. So we don't know. That being said, we must merge with our technology. We have no choice. There is no moral argument. It isn't playing God. If it was playing God, God would have nuked a city or 2 long ago, because that's what God does when God gets mad. Just ask Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay? God's pretty cool with it because it's saving lives, and it's the right thing to do. If your grandfather has a pacemaker, your grandfather is the Terminator. Think about it. A hearing aid is merging with your technology. Glasses on your face is merging with your technology. All of these are examples of cybernetic upgrades. Relative, of course, to one another. Now, if we do not merge with our technology, they're experimenting with it in Europe right now, and in Japan and in China. In America, we are not, because there's a huge voting bloc of what I like to call religious extremists that think we're playing with God and want to control the rest of the population to tell them what to do. Well, God is not going to nuke us for merging with our technology, but the Russians and Chinese will if we do not. Okay, because we will not be able to compete on a global scale with these countries when they have an entire race of hyper-intelligent children and we do not.